y'all. If you're listening to the sound of our voices, that means that you have found your way to the Charmingly Awkward podcast. Stay tuned for some organized chaos.
Hey, welcome back to Charmingly Awkward, podcast number 3. Look at us just knocking these out. Today, we're going to talk about relationships. Oh, the daunting relationships. Ugh.
Listen, you said, which is so funny. So preference this with like Elizabeth is now married. We love love. I think I say that every time. We love love. And so I'm super excited. You have such an amazing husband. And I'm not saying that just because you're here. Obviously, I gave myself approval a while ago.
Yeah.
But he's fantastic. And so would love to hear from your perspective, like what's the difference between single life? So single life versus married life. Give me the tea.
Honestly, so I feel like single life is something that you like have to go through to like get to the point. So like obviously I lived single life a little differently. I lived alone. I was very independent. I did all of the things and I was working really hard, paying all of the bills, and I was just like I understand why women get married super young. Honestly, I love my husband so much and I'm so glad I waited for him. Like he's definitely just the best thing that could have ever happened to me. We've been together for almost 3 years now, or we've been together for over 3 years now, and like shoot, time has flown. And obviously we've been married for a few months, but we discussed what responsibilities, like who was taking those responsibilities. He took on the financial responsibility. Not that like he's taking on all finances, like we are obviously a dual income household, but he pays everything, he makes sure all that taken care of. And honestly, it's just like not having to think about bills, just bills is honestly one of the best things in the entire world. Yeah, I now cook for two and I like do our laundry because I work from home. So like those are the responsibilities I took on. But like things that I'm like willing to do to not have to for him to take some of that mental load off. Like it's crazy how much you take on when you're by yourself and you do everything by yourself because you don't realize it until you have somebody to help shoulder that burden. Like it's wild.
Yeah. I honestly love that for you. Let me preference this also. I love to preference. This isn't for everybody, right? Like the way your
No.
marriage works is not for every person.
Yes.
We're specifically, I asked you about your opinion with your relationship. So I just want to preference that because I want to dive in deeper too about those are all the great things. But let's be honest, marriage isn't always rainbows and butterflies. So what was one of the
No.
hardest things you had to realize going from a single life to a married life?
I have to share things.
Yeah.
Like honestly, like I have to share my space, which I'm a very extroverted introvert. So I love doing all the things, but I love coming home to my quiet space. And you can't do that when you're married because you come home, you have your husbands and or like whatever partner you have, and you have to be there for them. And if they had a bad day and you didn't know you were about to take that on, like you take it because like you're there for that person, you're there for them 100%. And it's not like whenever you want to, it's 100%, it's all the time. And like him and I have been through some things over the last couple of years, like which is like our lives, and we've each had to like shoulder that burden when the other one needs it. And like that's when you really know you've like found your person and that person you can live with, because I'm okay with taking that on when he needs it, he's okay with taking that on when I need it from him. Like it is crazy though, because like for like that scene in Friends where Monica is like, now I have to live with a boy. That's how I feel sometimes.
Facts. Like it's great. And that's not even a complaint. And so that's like just things you don't realize, right? Like I feel like growing up, especially as women, we're taught like, oh my gosh, you're gonna grow up and get married and all these things and da 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 da. And then it's like, oh, but there are some things you have to sacrifice and compromise on. And
Yeah.
that's why marriages do not always work for people, because one, you have to be selfless enough to know you are a selfish person and understand you are.
Yes.
And also have to
Yes.
find the person where it's worth it, right? You just can't be sacrificing for everybody. You can't be
Yeah.
trying to make
And you've also got to be in like the right place for
Yes.
it. Because I feel like 5 years ago, when we originally tried to do this podcast thing, I was not in a place to get married. Like I thought I was. And I've done so much growth and so much like self-love, because I actually took a pretty big step back from dating. Like I didn't date for, I want to say almost a year. And I just focused on myself, and I was like, I don't really need that in my life. That's not where I'm at. And then all of a sudden, obviously, when I'm in the middle of my master's degree is when I decided this. I was like, I'm ready to get married. I think I'm ready to find my person. And my mom was like, you're kidding, right? Like, could you pick a different time? Because I was working full time, I was getting my master's full time, and I was like, yeah, why not? And that's how all of this started.
Yeah, oh, that's so cool. Like, I think he said some
Mhm.
key things like you have to be ready. The world can't tell you when you're supposed to be ready. Your mom can't tell you. No one else can tell you. You have to be able to tell
No.
yourself. And that's a really cool thing to understand. And so like that's kind of another question, right? It's like, what is it like dating when you're healed and when you're ready versus dating when you're trying to still figure things out and maybe for some of us not healed at the time.
Yeah, definitely when I was like trying to figure things out, I was just kind of dating to date. And honestly, I knew that. I knew I was dating to date. I knew I wanted a free meal and to have some fun. And that's exactly what I did. And I had a great time. And I knew I wasn't going to marry any of those men. And let's be honest, they were boys.
Retweet.
Yeah. And then I like worked on myself and I figured out who I was. I worked through a lot of trauma and like all the past and just figuring out like I am who I am. I am accepting that and I'm moving on. And that was a challenge in itself. And then honestly, like dating with intention was hard because you're like, oh, you're fun, but you're not like husband fun.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're just here to hang, and like I'm not here for that anymore. And then you're like, well, you're fun. Now I have to leave you and go find somebody who's here for like the right reasons. And
Yeah.
like you, but also I feel like coming into the relationship with clear intention. So when my husband and I first started dating, I was very clear. I was like, I'm ready to get married. I'm ready to settle down. I'm ready to start a family. And he was too. So like we both knew walking in that we were both prepared for those things, for when that happened, and that we were both like going on the same path. And I feel like that's like a conversation people just don't have.
Yeah.
Like I was very upfront about it, and I was very clear with what I wanted, and he was too. And that made the first, like it made it super easy,
Yeah.
to say the least. Like when I moved and I met him, he was the one and only date I went on. I don't live in that state anymore, so I can say it. When I moved to Utah and I met him, I like he was the one and only date I went on. I just kind of like knew. Like my mom always said that I would know. People always say that, and I'm like, that's ridiculous. Like, how do you just know? I just kind of
Mm-hmm.
knew. I really did.
Yeah.
We fell in love pretty quickly. We loved being together, and honestly, it was just like I found the person who I was meant to be with, and like that half that I was just missing, because he's great at things that I'm not great at, and I'm great at things that he's not great at. And honestly, like it's really nice having somebody to help and be helpful in a way that, like, but you also have to be selfless and understand that you're not good at those things, and that this person is, and you have to let them take the control. And that's hard sometimes because you have been in so much control because you're single, and it's when you're ready to just give that up. And I feel like it's when you know you're ready to like move forward with that kind of relationship.
Yeah. And dropping so many gems, right? Like dating with intention, understanding that you have to make sure that you're in the right place and being like, okay, I'm willing to admit, okay, I'll hand this over to somebody else. Or like, I'm willing to let someone else live life with me and go on this journey with me. And so I want to circle back to dating with intentions because I feel like that's something like you mentioned, we don't do that enough in the world.
No.
And then we look back and we're like 50 and we're like, oh my goodness, but what did I do? And it was like, you are still in a relationship with someone who told you, like, who never told you from the get-go they wanted to ever get married. And like, you've been with this person for 20 years and you're like second guessing, is it you? And it's like, I don't think it's you. I mean, I can't speak for everybody, but like, I don't think it's most of the time I don't think it's neither of the individuals. I think that no one ever had sat down and had that conversation of what they wanted out of life, right? Like people get married and don't even know, or like get engaged and don't even know if someone wants to have children. And that's a little baffling to me.
It's crazy.
Like, those are like key questions.
I also feel like I see women on TikTok, they talk about how the person that they broke up with, that they've been dating for 7 years, that they're like, I just like never saw it. But then they start talking about how like when they talk about the future, their partner didn't want to talk about the future. And I feel like that's a huge red flag, because like if you're not wanting to talk about the future, what do you want? Like you obviously want the right here and now, but we need to be discussing what's happening next, because there's always a next, like what is happening next, because like our next discussion is a family, and so like,
Yeah.
or like buying a home, because like we like, but you all like, there should always be something that you're like striving for with that person, whether that's like your boyfriend and girlfriend and you're getting engaged, and then from the engagement you're getting married, and like there's a progression that I feel like makes sense. And then people are like, well, we never talked about it. I'm like, well, no wonder you never went anywhere, because you never talked about it.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
because some people are content to stand still, and if you're not, but you don't say anything, like you can't blame anybody but yourself.
For sure. And I think
Mm-hmm.
it's nice for people who are listening for us to like, well, for me to confirm what I mean when dating with intentions. When I say
Yeah.
dating with intentions, I mean you are dating with a purpose that is a shared purpose, right? Of like
Yes.
the intention of you to dating, or intention of you dating this person, or
Mm-hmm.
dating in general, is to get married, or and then
Right.
have whatever a family is for you. I don't believe children
Yeah.
make a family, but whatever you think a
No.
family is, right? And so I also want to preface with, it doesn't mean you go on a date with somebody who's like, I'm marrying this person. Nope. It just means you sit down, you're like, if I was to be with this person forever, I would be okay with that,
Mm-hmm.
right? And you go
Yeah.
on this journey. So dating with intention doesn't mean that the one person, I mean, it worked out for you, doesn't mean the
Yeah,
one
yeah.
person you're
I just
dating
happen
with,
to be the one and only person I
yeah,
went on a date
you're
with.
gonna date, right? Like it means like, okay, I jumped on this ride. It
Mhm.
was cool. We both knew that we wanted to grow up and get married. We wanted to have kids. We believe in this, and we think that
Yeah.
way. And then you could get to a point in life and you realize like, okay, you are not my person. You could be a good person. And
Yeah.
I'll speak from my experience. I have been with good people, but we're
Oh
just not
yeah.
each other's person. You know, like
Hmm.
no ill will, no bad, like don't invite, we're not gonna invite each other to each other's wedding. Like
No, no,
we're not
no.
gonna be that
But
extreme.
like there's no moving forward with that like a
Yes.
relationship.
Yeah. Like, but we have no hard feelings towards each other. And I think
Mhm.
that that's what dating with intention is. And I think sometimes that freaks people out to hear like intentions,
Yeah.
like if I date that person, that means I'm going to marry him. No, 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 no. It just means that you're dating knowing that the potential of going on this date is going to lead to marriage. And would you
Right.
be okay marrying this person? That's why you have to have those tough conversations that you were talking about at the beginning.
Right. And on top of that, like talking about like values and stuff. So like even before we got married, we discussed like how we would want to raise our kids, because I feel like that's very important. Just because we both like would want kids and want a family doesn't mean we'd want to raise them the same. And I feel
Mm-hmm.
like that's a huge thing to discuss, because understanding how you want to do, how you want your life to progress should be a topic of discussion,
Yeah.
because that really informs the rest of your life. And I feel like values is a huge one. So obviously I believe in God, he does too, and I don't think I could have married someone who didn't, because that is like such a core thing in my life. It's what I grew up with. Like I couldn't imagine just not having that. And like him and I are looking for church now because we're settled, and but that's something we can do together, because we knew that that's what we would do when we moved home after our wedding. Like, but that's things that we've discussed prior, and
Yeah.
being very intentional about it. And it's so hard to think that if I wouldn't have discussed all of this and he felt very differently about it, like how would I actually feel? Like that would be so weird.
Yeah.
Like
And it's also good, right, to have those conversations at the beginning because you're not creating soul ties with people.
exactly.
You know, because when you create a soul tie with someone, it's super hard
It's
to be like,
hard.
okay, we're gonna like end this, right? So it's
Yeah.
like before I get too invested, let's
Mm-hmm.
just lay it like let's have these hard conversations. Like I know people are like, you shouldn't have those conversations on your first date, bruh. If you want to go further, like by the third date, you should have these
Yeah.
conversations because honestly, after the third date, you're communicating with this person more frequently. You know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah.
By the third date, you're probably seeing them more often than you're seeing anyone else. So you're
Mm-hmm.
creating these moments with each other and like don't break your own heart.
I'm gonna tell the world something really funny. Okay, your first date will never be, does not have to be perfect. On our first date, I was so sick. I had just moved across the country. I had moved into my new apartment, and I had been there for a week, and I had a sinus infection and COVID. I didn't know I had COVID, but I knew I had the sinus infection. And I still went on this date. We were in this loud restaurant, and I couldn't hear a thing this man was telling me. And I was just like, this is a terrible date. Why am I here? Like, he was thinking the same thing. No worries. There was a park across the street, and we went and walked like around the park, and we actually were able to like talk and chat. Like I was so sick, I didn't even touch my food. Like I couldn't eat. I was so sick. And So don't worry, people. Like if your date isn't going well, it could still be the one. It's fine.
Everything's fine. It's fine. It's fine. And honestly, I think we'd be remiss not to talk about what it's like to date now, right? So luckily for you, you are no longer in the dating scene.
Oh, thank goodness.
Love that for you.
I'm sorry.
Love that for you. For the other ones of us who are not married and we are in the dating scene, I just want to let y'all know you're not alone. Dating with intention is not always fun, and it's not easy. Like I just want to let you know it's not easy. Simply because multiple things, the society we grew up in, as women, we were prepared to grow up to be be wives. And I don't think men were trained to be what we or what all of us some of us may consider to be husband. I preference that because what a husband looks like is different for everybody.
Yes.
But some of us have the same mindset about what a husband does and what a husband looks like and et cetera, et cetera. And so even that we all come in, even if we all agreed or disagreed what a husband was, we all come in with our own mindsets. And that's hard to date in the world, is because you have your own expectations and you have expectations for somebody you don't even know. Right. So like, just want to talk about that of like dating with intentionality can be a little bit.
How's that been going?
How's that going? That silent moment is that I also don't, there are people who love dating. Like you grow up and you think it's going to be so fun and da 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 da. It's not. I don't know how people have the capacity, honestly. Like I gotta go to work. I gotta take care of myself. I gotta do all the things that you need to do to be a thriving adult. And then I gotta talk to somebody. And like, oh my goodness, don't have the conversations. Some people make my back hurt because I be holding the whole conversation. You know what I mean? Like,
oh, those are the hardest days. Like those are the ones that make me just want to like get up and leave. I'm like, I cannot hold this entire conversation. Somebody call me right now and have an SOS. Like I need it now.
And I try to be real respectful, right? Because like you don't know what anybody's going through in life. But like, oh, and I'm sure sometimes people feel like this about me. So I'm always gonna preface that. Like, I ain't perfect, but I'll be like, no, this ain't for me.
There is a different vibe when you text somebody. So like if that's how you start your relationship is by texting or messaging on a dating app, then meeting in real person. Like, are you the same person via text or that you are like in person? Because some people have great sense of humors via text.
Yeah.
They have zero like when you get to know them. But then there's others that they're so dry texting because they're just not texters, but they're so great in person.
Yeah.
So like you can never like just disconnect, like just be like, not this person because they're not good texters. Yeah. But then you get together in person, they're like, wow, this person's great. And it's like, it's probably why they're not a good texter.
Yeah. That's why you got to try to give people a chance. You know what I mean? And I mean, I think I'm the funniest person I know. So I'm like, hee hee ha.
Same.
You know what I mean? So I'm like, people got big shoes to fill. You know, I think we should talk about that when you're single and you're established. You know, it's kind of a high bar. You know, like you just can't just be coming in and out this door.
The thing is like you're not looking you're looking for somebody to add value to your life. So like I feel like my husband adds value to my life. He pushes me to be better. I push him to be better. He pushes me towards my goals. I push him towards his goals. We're better people because of each other. If they're not adding value to your life, I'm sorry, they're not worth it.
Yeah, and that's really that's it. And that's let me preface that dating is not fun for me because I have not met someone who I feel adds value to my life. Like I don't know if I met someone that I feel like, yo, you could be a part of my friend group. Like let me introduce you to somebody that I met.
Right.
You know,
honestly, that's a true test. Like when I was like, everyone's like, we need to meet Josh. And I was like, I know. I'm just like, what do I do?
Yeah.
I hope they like him because I do.
That's just conversation too for another day. Like if your friend doesn't like your significant other and they don't have valid reasons, sometimes you're just gonna have to let that be a wash because I don't
think the only person I ever allowed to have that type of opinion in my life is my mother.
And she should.
If she didn't like them, she didn't have to give a reason. My brother and I both knew that if mom didn't like them, they were done. Yeah. We didn't need a reason. We were done.
Yeah.
And she knew that. So she took that very seriously because mom has feelings and they're always true and I hate them.
Yeah.
Love you, mom.
That's like when your mom would be like telling you your friend ain't your real friend. And you'd be like, oh, and then they do something dirty.
Like, whatever.
You'd be like, oh, I should have listened to my mom. No, yeah, some moms, they just got it. And we have been blessed with some great moms. Us right here.
That's very true.
We can rock with our moms till the wheels fall off.
Love mom. Yeah. Both of our moms, they're both great. Yeah.
So fully understand. And so that's a dating scene right now. You know, maybe in 5 years, I'll give you another update of like, hey, I finally met somebody that added value in my life.
I hope so.
Haven't done that yet. I'm not against it. Like, I'm not like a I hate men kind of girl. I'll
But also, I feel like God did that on purpose because you're
absolutely
about to enter a different
whole
place in your
face.
life. Yeah, a whole different phase of your life.
Yeah.
And I feel like that would be very difficult if you were in a serious relationship to pick up and do this new phase in life. And so, honestly, God's timing is always the right timing, let's be honest.
Absolutely. And I agree just what everything you said.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this new phase,
Yeah.
I just thought about that. I was just supposed to meet up with someone. I thought, but if I start this, I'm trying to do something else in my life right now. And I don't know if I have the time to commit to foster this
Yeah.
relationship. Now, if you want to hang on and like check back in 6 months, you can spin the block, right? I don't tell many people to spin the block, but I'm like, you can spin the block again and we can see where we're at in life
Mm-hmm.
kind of thing. So yeah, that's very valid. God is working.
Yeah.
And I'm here for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm here for it too, because I think you're about to do great things and it'll be great.
Yeah. So I can't wait for that to all come. Maybe that'll be a podcast one day too. We just have a whole bunch of new podcasts that come back up.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine. We'll talk about it when it happens.
Yes.
Post it.
Bef-
like, no, we're just waiting. Like,
Yeah.
all good things are happening. I love it.
Yes. And as we're wrapping up, before we end, I'd like to end you with one question, this podcast with one question. And this question is, what was the difference of dating? You said it best, like dating a boy and dating a man. I don't know if Josh was like the first man you dated, but if it's not the first man, give me what that felt like to you, and then I'll dabble in a little bit.
Yeah, I felt like you can feel the difference, honestly, by the way they talk, the way it's confidence. Like,
Yeah.
he was very confident in who he was, and he was obviously very driven, and just what was like rolling off of him, like I could tell that he knew who he was. And when you date a boy, they throw their insecurities at you, and they don't know who they are. And if you know who you are, then they feel very insecure about that. And you can just tell, like, honestly, you can tell that via the first date.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're very intentional. He knew I loved brunch, and so he specifically picked a brunch spot that he loved because he wanted to share that with me, even though I never ate the food. We've never been back, so I have no idea if that place is good. But he was very intentional about the things that he did, and I always really appreciated it. He knew I loved to cook, so he got all the stuff to make pumpkin pie because I wasn't spending that Thanksgiving with my family. And so we made pumpkin pie together. So he did things that was specifically for me and not just because they were there. Like, he had to make decisions that like affected me specifically, and not like if it was any girl, it would have been the same.
Yeah.
Because it wouldn't have. And so I feel like you can tell that with their intentionality.
Yeah.
Like, they make it clear.
Yeah. Yes. And the last part of they make it clear. A man once told me, they're like, a man is going to make it clear his intentions from the get-go. Like, if a man is about you, like a man dating a man, that's how you know. Like, they're going to be like, this is what I'm looking for. This is what I want. This is where it's at. And it's like very logical, right? Like, no disrespect. This is my preference. This is not my preference, my opinion. Like, to me, a man is not going to go in and be like, I need a girl who looks like this and this and this and this and this and this and this. A man's going to come in like, these are the characters of a woman. Like, men are visual creatures. Don't get me wrong. But they come in with also expectations of what a character of a woman's supposed to be.
But also, if they want to, they will.
Hands down. I have been fortunate enough to have dated or been on dates with some good men, and their intentionality, I've been like, yes,
this is nice.
I will show up. Like, even if you want to go on a work day, like I don't care if I have to leave work on time and drive straight to the date. For someone that I identify as a man, I'm like, yes, absolutely. I can already tell, like, if a guy's like, oh, you picked the place, I'm like, it ain't it for me, my guy. Like, I love that for you. For you. If I tell you what I like to do and you still have me pick the place, at least give me 5 options. Or you at least suggest one and then say, is there something else you prefer?
Yeah, or be like, hey, is there any like restrictions, like food allergies? Because that's, like, it's important. And but also I feel like for the first date, if they don't put it together, it's weird. Yeah. Because if they're reaching out to you and they want to go on a date with you, they should plan it.
Yeah. Now, if I asked you on a date, then I should plan it.
That's totally different because you asked.
Yeah, whoever asked,
and not them.
Like, I don't ask someone to come to my birthday party and then say, oh, also, will you plan it for me?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, no, I invited you to my birthday party.
For sure.
So yeah, I love that. So I just want to touch on base on that. So let's round that out with how you know the difference between a boy and a man is the intentionality. If they wanted to, they would. Don't stress yourself
Mhm.
out, sis. If he ain't calling you, he ain't trying to call you.
Just drop them.
I ain't gonna say drop him. Okay,
I say drop.
I don't like to tell people what to do in their relationships anymore. Old me would have been like, drop them. Me now, it's like, you like it.
Look, Destiny has grown. I still judge. Drop.
If you like it, I love it. But I will leave you with this advice. You accept the love you think you deserve.
Yes.
And if that's the love you think you deserve, I challenge you to love yourself a little bit more.
And also ask if you have a best friend or a really good mom, ask them if they think that that person's actually good for you, and ask for the truth, because they will tell you.
I love it. Well, until next time, this is Charmely Awkward.
I guess we'll see you next time. Bye.